Thanks for logging on to myfoxhurricane.com. So through the overnight hours, just really an unprecedented event happening here. Yesterday morning, we had a tropical storm Otis. Winds 70 miles an hour as we went through the late morning hours. From that point into last evening, this went from a 70-mile-an-hour tropical storm to a Category 5 hurricane with winds of 165 miles an hour. Not only was this rapid intensification, this is what you basically call explosive intensification, just really something you do not normally see. But this, unfortunately, is exactly what we saw with Hurricane Otis as it worked its way onshore. Now, it was expected to intensify and up to a Category 1 hurricane, possibly a little bit stronger than that, but certainly nothing in the realm of what we saw yesterday. Just shows you once again that intensity forecast is still something that there's a lot of research being done to improve on that, because there are things in the atmosphere that with all our computer modeling, you just still do not capture. Now, early yesterday, all of it was really being done by satellite analyzation. There wasn't hurricane reconnaissance planes flying in the system. Yesterday afternoon, once they started to get the information back from the hurricane reconnaissance flights flying into the middle of this storm, they started to get really a much better idea of how well structured this storm was, and this storm was really undergoing rapid intensification, which was something that really wasn't, I don't want to say it wasn't in the realm of possibility, but the amount of that wasn't really fully comprehended. But as things went on, it just, an absolute explosion is what you can basically describe this system as. The winds increased 115 miles an hour in just a 24-hour period of time. This ended up being the strongest landfall on the Pacific coastline of Mexico, and this is also the first Eastern Pacific storm to make landfall as a Category 5. So that tells you right there with those headlines, this is one obviously for the record books and will be studied for years to come. Now, flip over out of the Pacific and into the Atlantic basin, and this is what we've been talking about for several days, Hurricane Tammy. It's still a hurricane, in fact, is gained a little more strength, and kind of an interesting thing, what we saw with Otis, the dip in the jet stream actually helped to enhance this storm, and we're seeing that interaction with the jet stream with this storm helping to enhance it for now. You can see that trough right through here. You see that dip, and then you see those very strong winds. It's sitting just on the southern side of that. So even though you're seeing a lot of the clouds being sheared off the top of this, it's not over the core of this system. So at least for now, it still has the ability to hold itself together and maybe even get a little bit stronger. But as it continues to work its way to the north and eventually towards the northwest, it is going to start to work its way more into the core of those stronger winds, and that will start that transition into more of an extratropical system that, combined with moving over cooler waters, and will start to weaken the system. But as it weakens and it makes that transition into a non-tropical system and into an extratropical system, we'll actually see the wind field expanding with this. But right now, winds are at 105 miles an hour. It's moving to the northeast at 13 miles an hour. And this has been a difficult one just because of that interaction with the jet stream and that trough. But here's the current forecast track. And overall, hasn't changed dramatically. But a couple of days ago, it was looking like it was going to go basically over Bermuda and then kind of hang out. Now it looks like it'll probably more than likely stay to the east of Bermuda, but close enough that they are going to feel some of the effects. Remember, as it transitions into an extratropical system, because you're seeing these L's, but you're still seeing those wind speeds higher than that 40 miles an hour. And that tells you this is an extratropical system. And so with that, some of the stronger winds will reach over towards Bermuda. And then after that point, then it kind of, you have to wait and see what's going to happen, because it looks like it'll kind of linger for a little bit. You look at the computer models, and there you see that turn towards the west right near Bermuda and then kind of hangs out a little bit, and then you're starting to see that big spread in the model. So just that interaction with the trough is obviously still a big question mark among all the various computer models. So you're looking at the European, you look at the GFS, here we are basically stacked right on top of each other. But watch as we go through time. In the short term, pretty good agreement as we go through Friday. That's when things start to kind of diverge between the two models. And remember, we talk about this all the time. We see those divergence in the models. You're not seeing that agreement or the consensus. That gives you lower confidence in what will happen with this system. But that'll be the idea really over the short term. It's going to work its way over towards Bermuda, kind of linger for a little bit, and then eventually kind of get kicked off towards the east or the northeast. So we're going to continue to watch this over the next couple of days, and we'll keep you updated right here on myfoxhurricane.com.